I basically am redoing the middle portion because for some reason it didn't do the screen capture. So basically what I have here is I have developed the Freight Analysis Framework data set, and I'm going to go through some overlap between the one that I just did to make it consistent. Again, loading the data, a lot of data here. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was building all of these tables, and I'll click on each one and describe to you what it is. So we're just going to go to Window. We're going to go to Table 1. Now remember, last time I left off, Kentucky was the state. I think it was Kentucky. Let me just double check. Actually, show filter. Yeah, Kentucky. So Kentucky's the state. And what I basically did was I just simply put tons, drug tons over, drug value over, drug times over. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this data set, and I'm going to call it total, I'm going to call this table 1 total with direction. Okay, so right now, if you look at this table, it's just total trades, just total volume moving to the state of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So I come here, I'm just going to say, okay, I want to clean this shelf out. I'm just simply going to go to here. I'm just going to, I'll just clean the whole thing. I'm going to clear the sheet. So I'm going to bring in state to state. Again, it kept the Kentucky filter. I'm going to put year. So now I have year. And for rows, I'm going to put trade type. As I mentioned, that's a domestic flow, an export, or an import. Now let's go back here to our data source, our metadata, just to discuss all these things again. We see the BA destination. We're going to sort the fields based on A to C, descending order, Bureau of Economic Analysis, origin, destination, commodity description, distance span, and text. Basically, I could probably make this in an alias at some point in time. Anyway, domestic mode, these are all codes, FAF codes. So I know that I have a domestic mode, and to prevent myself from being confused, I can just simply come through here and say domestic mode, tons, trade type. Oh, foreign inbound mode. So we call this domestic mode. And we know there's an alias there. Good. So then we're just going to call this domestic mode, rename. Domestic mode. So we come here, so we get total by direction. So then we're going to add 10 miles. And we're going to add tons. And you see how it just we're just going to remove it because it overwrote the other one. So remove. I'll just put all three in there. And again, it gave me this measure names. I'd rather that be here. So now we have tons, we have imports, ton miles, value. So we have our same chart. So now we have total by direction, domestic, but we really don't have domestic, we just have imports or exports, and of course we don't have direction for domestic. So then we do this, we add right here inter versus interstate, so it still doesn't tell us direction. So title outbound. Oh, it'd just be easier to do it like this. Okay, so we come back here and we say state destination. And we're just going to keep Kentucky. So now we have Kentucky. These are all the things that are the destination state is Kentucky. And I want to see this show me show filter. Show filter. So if I want to change this to a different state, I could. I can add them. So anyway, that's just me being sidetracked, squirrel. So if I got state destination, and what I can do is say, okay, I'd really rather have the state destination here. We know it's Kentucky here. We also want to, and we say, okay, well this is, we don't need to have the state destination because the state destination is, filter is only going to be Kentucky. So again, the state destination shows up here. We don't have to have this here if we don't need it because technically it's already up here with the state destination is Kentucky. So this is our total, we will call this total trade inbound. And then we're going to duplicate this sheet. And we're going to call it total outbound. So then, as opposed to being state destination, we just remove this filter. We do destination. So technically it's an inbound flow, then it's the destination outbound flow. It's the, just double check. So the state destination is inbound, outbound state of origin, good, we got that. Then we come back here and we say state, we're going to edit the filter. See, it only has Kentucky edited right now, which means it's only going to capture Kentucky only flows. We're just going to remove that filter. So we have the same filter we did earlier, Kentucky. So if Kentucky wanted to look at its trade, weird. So I just keep going through these. Table 2 again, market. Jeez, I didn't learn how to spell. Market. Direction, kind of the same thing. We know this is Kentucky. Total trade by market. Again, it's the by value. And this is a remnant of, I was doing some work on why Tom, for the state of Georgia, had a really high count for gravel and some other flows. And this is a remnant of that. I don't need it anymore, so I'm just going to delete it because basically for some reason that session did not tape. Now I get to my dashboard, which is simply done by adding. For instance, I come back to dashboard. I'm going to create a new dashboard. And I'm just simply going to add this table here that I just created, and this table here that I created. And if I can put them that way, I say, well, I'd rather put them. I'd rather put it down here. And of course, I can still do my various cuts because it's keeping track of this table. I do not have it joined to that table, even though I probably could if I went back to it. So I come back here and I go to inbound, say destination. So sure, I come here. I'm going to remove this. And then there's all of my tables. I'm just going to save it. I don't know where that error message is coming from. Save. So come back to my second dashboard. It shows up Hawaii. So I can look at basically compare inbound trade from the state of Kentucky to Hawaii, outbound trade of the state of Kentucky to the state of Hawaii. So anyway, so this dashboard is, we're just going to rename it. We're going to name this state to state total trade. And this outbound commodity was created by basically taking the flows. Again, it has to be the outbound, state of origin is Kentucky. Same filter here. There's our chart. We have the year. We have the commodity description. And then what I did is I drag tons over. And for instance, if I take this off, I remove this. See, we have this table. I say, okay, well, let's use this table. Or let's come here. This just gives you different types of tables. And see, when I did this, which is what I had earlier, notice how it gave me the second gradient fill. Of course, it gave me the year down this way, and I'm going to switch that. So I switch it back. So that's, again, that's how that one was developed. And there's this corollary inbound flows. And then we have the same with the commodity flows. Again, what I did is just the same. I changed the color scale because the blue was hard to read. So I'm just going to show you how to edit that. I come here. So edit these colors. This doesn't look good. I don't like the blue teal. I want to make it just blue. Light blue. I do OK. And now you can see the ones that are standing out more. The way I changed this table earlier, I can't remember if that was, you want to see it in the next session or not, but I just quickly came to the layout and changed the page to do the to remove that, to change the actual what was displayed as a percentage. And then commodity flows, inter versus intrastate. The idea for a lot of states is their biggest flow is moving in and out of the state. And here we see agriculture, foodstuffs. Now, if you notice, this is STCG code. But what I did is I created a kind of an easier version just for myself of just mixing certain categories together, which I discussed later on, but that's this creation of this SCTG group. Outbound commodities, inbound commodities. Commodity flows, again, the same thing. I did the tons and value on the same chart. And I used this grouped SCTG code to do that. So as you can tell, the interesting thing about Tableau is once you get the data all organized, it's pretty easy to just do the manipulations on the fly. Like here's BEA. I was doing this to look at basically some flows, where the biggest export markets. Here it was, inter versus intrastate movements, but a grand total. I did some exclusions, so basically I took out some variables. I took out things that were southeast intra. Basically, these are things that are just moving within a particular state, and I took it out because at the time I had a state piece in it, so I should probably drop this. I'm going to remove it. So as you can tell, this is the BA destination, BA origin. I don't like that order. I'll just change it around. See how I drag it right on top of the other one? Killed it. I come here. I don't put it on top of it. See how the orange light here lights up? I drag it over. Now it's just the change has occurred. So now we got the flow. So anyway, so 11. Did I do anything for 11? Probably didn't even rename it. I'm going to rename this table total state route comparisons. And if you wanted to, you can say, okay, well, this is the state-to-state routes. You say, well, I want to look at it by mode. So I just come over here and I drop in domestic mode. If I drop it in here, it says Kentucky, their largest movement is by truck. Or I could just simply put it this way. It's okay for air, what's our largest flows? And I could have done a sort here. A whole bunch there. Multiple modes. I hate that one variable set. Okay. And of course by water, and I say, well, I'd rather look at as opposed to this is the mode, this is the top flow, but I don't want to look at air, so I just exclude it. I don't look at multiple modes, so I exclude that. I don't look at unknown, I exclude that. What I'm really interested in, just for the sake of the waterway presentation, is waterway flows. So for Kentucky, their biggest flows are to Illinois, 2014, kind of hit and miss. with some forecasts, intra-Kentucky movements. So the idea is it gives you some flexibility to do your analysis on these rows. And sheet 10 is again the same thing, commodity subgroup. We're going to name this table 10 commodity flow comparison. And now we can see that for the state of Kentucky, these are the flows. So as you can tell, a lot of it is once you build a data set, you just drag things over and kind of look at it. But the most important thing about doing any database work in Tableau is you have to understand the metadata, because that's what's going to save you, and that's also what's going to give you the flexibility to do the type of analysis that you're going to do. So anyway, let me save